All right, hi, Hunter. All right, we've got Hunter and myself here, and we figured we'd do a little chat. I haven't slept at all today. So, yeah, stayed up all night. It's like 9, 10 o'clock right now, something like that. Hunter he had a nice nap. But we had a seance last night, and this video is actually going to be on that subject. And I figured we could actually ask questions back and forth and I guess convey something to people watching the video about what we're doing and maybe give some advice for other people who are interested in following up on all this. Hunter, so the first mediumistic experience you had, before or after the experiences when we started our hypnosis work, what was it?
Let's see. Well, after we had started the hypnosis work, I'd say the first real experience I had was talking to my granddad. Pretty cool. At that point, I don't know now if I can look back and say if that was 100% genuine or if that was just kind of something I created in my mind, but either way, it's something that felt real to me, and kind of was the catalyst for wanting to develop more as a medium. And I'd say that I can't say that everything that when I first started was 100% genuine, because there's a lot of imagination involved, I would say. But as things have progressed more and more, I'd say that it's apparent that a lot of what I've done, just from readings with other people, information that I've given them that couldn't have done before, I'd say that that I could prove my work as genuine. That's my thought there.
And okay, how do you approach the survival issue? I know Klaus, if he actually watched this, he's probably going to be interested in your take on that.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm talking to spirits, people that have departed. I'd like to say that I'm not crazy. That'd be good, but I can't say that I'm 100% sure on anything. That's why I'm doing this. Just to, I'd like to know whether or not the people that I'm actually talking to are there or not. Maybe I'm just crazy, but maybe not. Just looking for proof.
And I think that's a good approach to have. You would always have that approach. You really stepped out on a limb when you first started all this with me. In fact, we both did, because I had no idea what I was doing when I first started out.
Right.
Actually, I read a few, like a book or two on hypnotism and whatnot. Decided to give it a shot. And
right.
It's kind of interesting how everything's developed from there.
Right.
But yeah. So, as far as where you see your mediumship going now, where do you think that's going? Where do you think our efforts are going? Do you have any idea what you want to do with this?
Honestly, that's the kicker. I don't know where we're going. I mean, I don't know what to expect, because if there are spirits on the other side that we're communicating with, then I mean, why stop anywhere? I would like to push the limits as far as they've ever gone, if possible. That would be my goal, just to see what the limits are.
That's a good idea. For anyone interested in developing mediumship, what would you recommend?
Find a good partner. This guy.
Not in a gay way.
Yeah, just friends.
You said that sounded like, well, I'm not going to say something crazy. I really would have said, but. Anyways.
It's just a thing of, see, I myself, I don't have a lot of the book smarts that Alex has.
He's very intelligent. He's modest.
Well, not on this subject. Let me put it that way. I don't have a lot of the book smarts as far as spiritualism and mediumship is concerned. That's always been his main focal point. Which, while I have read some of the literature, that's just, I'm more about doing it than reading about it, which probably isn't the best way to approach this. But that's what I've done so far. I've read some on Daniel Douglas Hume, which has been really interesting. If you haven't read about him or know anything about him, I suggest learning. He's a big bit of inspiration for my mediumship. Also, meditation is good. I would say if you're not doing that, start on it. Regular sitting. Even though, if people are sitting on a regular basis like we used to, we built up some phenomena, and then I had to leave for basic training, came back, phenomena just wasn't really there, it wasn't as strong. I would say that sitting on a consistent basis is really beneficial. Also, while sitting, a lot of people like to have some kind of like ridiculously just quiet, sober mindset. I don't really think that helps. I think that kind of like keeps the spirits from talking. If I'm sitting here having a conversation with someone and they're saying absolutely nothing, they're just sitting there quiet waiting for me to talk, what's my motivation to speak? If you're sitting there having a light atmosphere, wanting to communicate with the spirits, keeping, like an open mind, not limiting, what could happen, what kind of communication could come through, I think that you're more likely to receive communication that way than if you're just sitting there in a meditative state.
And you're talking about seance.
Right, talking about seances specifically. However, I would say that if you're doing like mental mediumship, just trying to give readings to other people, I would say that meditation is good. It's I would say work on keeping imagination out of your head while trying to give, like if you're ever trying to give a reading. Any kind of imagination is going to affect what's coming through from the other side, I would say. And honestly, you can't help that at first. Because you're going to think about other stuff, like you're going to be thinking about, school, work, blah, 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 whatever. It happens just because, I wouldn't say that you can't control your mind, but in certain ways you can. You start thinking about other stuff, it just happens. It's whatever. It's just something that you got to work at to not do quite as often and eventually get to a point where it just doesn't happen when you're trying to give a reading. So those are just a few pointers there for starting out and as you advance, just some things to keep in mind.
And I know at one point you told me that you were more interested in the healing aspects of mediumship, which you thought it contributed to the sitters. And you're also interested in the scientific aspect of it. I think that's secondary in your approach to it. And I think in the spiritualist mindset, that's what mediumship's about. It's about healing.
Definitely.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a skeptic, but I think it's definitely something worthy of exploration. And I think there have been a lot of interesting things in the past. A lot of the things we've experienced in our work together and whatnot. It's giving me pause for thought, and I can't say that I have an answer for everything, but I'm interested in aiming for that. I'm interested in at least pushing for answers and pushing towards some type of resolution. I think that's probably the only way forward for parapsychology, for the study of mediumship.
Right.
I suppose it's psychic phenomena and things like that. Only way you're going to get forward is if you push forward.
Exactly. Don't limit yourself on what you think you can do or what you've seen like other mediums do. If you base yourself or if you base your success on what they've done, you're limiting yourself. Not to say that there haven't been very successful mediums in the past. Don't get me wrong. there have been mediums that have done much more than I have, and possibly much more than I will ever do. But if you limit your success based on their success, or if you expect yourself not to ever reach their level of success, you're never going to reach it, and you're never going to exceed it. Food for thought.
Now, as far as your mediumship goes right now, I guess we're focusing mostly on physical phenomena,
right.
The sticks.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments to make on the sticks group at all?
I would say that, well, I mean, for our group, we have pretty solid members that we can trust, and I think that's definitely something that's necessary if you're going to be sitting regularly, is to have a group of people that you can trust. I mean, not that, you know, if you invite people to a sitting, that they're going to purposely sit there and, like, if you're trying to do table tipping, just, like, move the table by itself or whatever. Not to say that they're necessarily trying to do that, like, to produce the phenomenon just to be jerks, but that, you know, they get a little bit excited sometimes because they hear a couple knocks and they start moving their hands a little bit, and then bam, there you go. You're thinking, oh man, we've got table tipping going, and it's just some douche that's, you know, just overly excited. Make sure that you have individuals that are there for the serious, with not necessarily a serious mindset, but a serious approach to the subject, and you can trust that will not try to manipulate anything in the seance room, you know, by themselves, you know.
And like I've been telling him, as phenomena begin to develop, if you actually sit and let's say you're focusing on trying to get physical phenomena, and in the literature, the best way to do that is to start with table tipping, according to most people in the, or at least most of the old writers in the spiritualist literature. So if you're doing that, if you start getting phenomena that you don't seem to be able to explain, then you should introduce controls. And I think you should aim for optimum documentation, optimum thoroughness in the research. You should invite independent investigators and people in. I really want to see some of this stuff replicated. If we start getting results that we can't explain, there have already been some interesting little things that have happened, but I'm still a student. I'm still willing to see where this is going to go. It's kind of like one of these things where you kind of get depressed sometimes, and then because you don't think anything's happening, then something happens, you know, or something new happens, and everything starts looking promising again. So I'm very interested in seeing where it all goes. I think that this is something worthy of exploration, because a lot of people in the past reported things like this. People report mediumistic experiences. And I think it's an injustice to these things if you don't study them thoroughly and actually try and get to the root of what's going on. So I think that's my approach into all this stuff. I had some experiences a few years back that got me interested in everything. A few years back, I was fairly convinced of the spiritualist interpretation of things, and then as I really delved into the literature, I became more and more skeptical, and actually picked up conjuring and magic and whatnot, and started writing on parapsychology and things like that. But Hunter's been here with me since the beginning, December 2010, pretty much, and even before that, we were doing like little meditation things and whatnot with initiation into hermetics, the garden stuff.
Good stuff.
But I think if you really want to delve into this stuff, you have to do so seriously, and you have to put in time and effort. Sometimes, even when things don't seem to be happening, just keep at it. A lot of, like, I think Fred Myers back in the day, Frederick Myers, one of the founders of the SDR, he actually wrote how upset he was, or aggravated he got when people would try things like automatic writing and do it like twice and then say, hey, it didn't work. So I think that, I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier, and he was talking about how it was explored from a research angle and not an experiential angle. And I may actually try and approach it from an experiential angle, but for now I just kind of test other people. And I think that it helps me stay detached from everything. I think it's a good approach. We've got another really critical sitter in the circle now. I'm going to keep his name anonymous, but he's been a good benefit to everything. But yeah, the things seem to really be going well, and I'm very interested in, I guess, working on your trance as well. I told you that. When we're not actually sitting in the sticks on every Tuesday, when he's around and he wants to try it, we'll probably try and develop his trance stuff, because he seems to be doing some trance mediumship type things that seem to have developed since we've been sitting in this series.
Right.
And I think that could be essential for the physical phenomena, if they exist, if they happen. I think that while he's in that state, it could be interesting to explore like mental phenomena, because there are some things that have happened in the seances. Just on the experiential level, like if you believe in psychic phenomena and whatnot, there have been things that have happened spontaneously that have been pretty interesting. I'm not going to say whether or not they were psychic, but they were definitely interesting. There have been at least, 3 incidents where you had a crisis-type experience during the seance. 3 different people actually died, and I haven't really published this yet, but the first time the person died, it was someone related to him, and the other 2 times the person wasn't. But he had an experience when we were in the seance room where he just felt this really terrible feeling. And basically every time he tells me that he feels this feeling, someone actually has died. So it's actually been very, very interesting. And I wrote a paper in Parapsychology back in January of 2013. It was published then on crisis apparitions during the Civil War. So it's actually very fascinating. I think there's a wealth of information that might be psychically intuitive. And I think that's something we should explore more. I think it would be an injustice for you not to. What do you think on that?
Excuse me, you're talking about the crisis apparition?
Well, that's something we should, I don't think you can really study that experimentally. That's something that's going to have to remain anecdotal, but because it's something spontaneous.
Right.
But I think that we could definitely test what you do, like by bringing in anonymous sitters and setting up some pretty good experiments where they're not present. I could be a proxy sitter. And,
okay. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see, you know. Not that I really, not just I'm cocky, not that I really doubt myself. It's just been a while since I've given a reading. You know, might have to give a few just to make sure, you know, my skills are, you know, very rusty.
Well, maybe if you go into your trance or whatever, and your control is cool with that, we can actually see if we can delve into that.
Would be interesting. It would be interesting.
You got anything you want to add to this?
No, I can think of. Other than if you're gonna, like Alex was saying, if you're gonna be trying to attempt this, don't give up after the first or second, third, or even 5th try. It's not something that comes easy, and it's not something that comes really fast either. It's one of those things that takes time and patience and aggravation. It just happens. I mean, there's going to be nights that you're doing stuff, or you're trying to produce phenomena, or you're trying, you know, to go in a trance, talk to your guide or whatever. You're just going to get aggravated. Nothing's happening, and that's okay. It happens. It's not one of those things that is meant to happen fast. It's one of those things that you really need to take your time with, you know, and thoroughly develop skill. Because otherwise, I mean, you're only cheating yourself if you don't. And that's about all I can say.
I agree with that. I think that's a good point. I guess you have to put the time and effort in if you want to see anything.
Definitely.
And we're going to keep up our experiments and see where these go. I might actually start doing some type of little conversation with you every once in a while and making a video of it. Think that's a good idea?
Yeah, definitely.
You did good. Good speaking there. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna cut the camcorder off. Hope you enjoyed.
Oh, yeah. Good chat. All right.